Good evening, y'all. Sorry I am late. Glad to see you guys in here this evening. I didn't even realize what time it was until it was 8:01, and then the computer being slow to log on. So good to see you guys this evening. Loretta, B&B Home, Joe Morgan, 5 Virgins Prepper. Good to see you guys. Mojo Man, good to see you. Let's see. Flow Grown Homesteader, good to see you. Chris Pyatt, good to see y'all. Ashley, good to see you. And Faith, if you're watching. Let's see. Diabetic Prepper, good to see you. Well, looks like I'm caught up. That didn't take long. Thanks, Ashley. Yeah, I'm not really representing the Colts, but I wanted to give a shout out to Indiana. God love him. They did it, and they filed the lawsuits to fight back against all these mandates. Now we just got to see how that all goes. So, not out of a job yet. Tank is doing very well. Thank you, Joe. He's doing really well. He's on some really good pain medicine and antibiotics. He gets it once a day, and the only thing he's suffering in is we can't let him run. He can't run and jump like he likes to, and other than that, just trying to keep him calm, South Carolina. Yeah, there's a lot of them that's jumping on board. Praise God. I hope they stick it to them. Man, it's still kind of scary for me because I see him being kind of lenient. As far as the lawsuits go on, okay, we'll give you this, but we're keeping this kind of thing back and forth. So the medical field still really scares me that they'll really be sticklers about that one. But, I mean, at least if that's the case, God willing, I mean, there's plenty of jobs everywhere around here if I have to go do something else, if they do make it to where, you can still work in a place over 100 and not be jabbed, I'll just go somewhere else, see what I can find. Hey, Cat Lady, good to see you. Charlotte SDCA, good to see you. Anybody else care? Homestead Homeboy, good to see you. Oh, yeah. Keeping Tank calm. That's a full-time. Well, the older he gets, the lazier he gets. But when he gets outside, he's like a puppy all over again. So keeping him tame outside is kind of a hard thing. But worry isn't good if nothing productive comes of it. Just raises blood pressure. That's absolutely right, Joe. That's absolutely right. I started my new job with Mandy last Monday, or this past Monday, and I really like it there. It's something I've never done before. I know that's weird, but I've never ran a cash register. I've never worked in a convenience store or anything like that. I really like it. Seeing people first thing in the morning. It's some of them are really happy to see you, and some of them won't even acknowledge you. Until I said, hey, back, Ashley. Thank you, Cat Lady. It took a while, but it's done for now. The more chickens we get, I might have to add another one outside or extend that one a little bit, but it'll do for now with no more than we got. It took me a while because everything that you've seen in that video, aside from the floor, well, the subfloor and everything, that was all pieced together too with scrap stuff I had. But we bought a piece of Luan and the linoleum for the floor, and that's I think that's all that came out of pocket for that hen house. So I got really fortunate Actually, I can't say that because all the barn type lumber you've seen, I did buy that like back in the spring. I bought it all. And I've still got like 8 panels of that stuff. I bought it all for $40. So, so I guess there is money in it, but I had to take all the fence apart and everything, and that's what took so long is recycling everything. Thank you very much, Loretta. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Shalom, go. I can never remember how to say that name, but I'm glad you're here. Thank you. And I appreciate that. And I did find out who shot Tank, but it's kind of a sticky situation. So I don't know if I'm just going to let it go or raise a stink about it. I can't decide because the guy that shot him had a run in with a pit bull. It got in his chicken coop and killed all but like 3 or 4 of his chickens. And I mean, they had probably 20, 25 chickens. And he killed almost every one of them. The law came out, put the dog down, and gave him permission that if he caught more strays trying to mess with his chickens, they gave him permission to do the job himself, but make sure he reports it. Problem with that is, I'm pretty sure he don't have chickens anymore, and Tank don't mess with chickens. So I think he just caught him in his yard and maybe was scared of him and took a shot at him. I think we're lucky that he was a bad aim because I think he was going for the chest and Tank might have moved and got his leg just because of the way the entry and exit wound was. He had to almost be facing the guy head on. But with him having, I don't know, it could just be a long, drawn out, sticky situation, and I don't know how to handle it. So we're not sure yet. Basically, after I sat here and rant, yeah, and babble on. Basically, he was mistaken for hostile, which he gets. People think he's a pit bull all the time. I mean, anybody that knows, he doesn't. He looks nothing like a pit bull. I mean, he's tall, lanky, goofy looking. Pit bulls are usually shorter, broad, stocky, big square head. They. Hey, man, it's good to see you. I mean, they're in the same family, but they really don't know. Nope, he's not a pit. He's just a big old goofy American bulldog. I believe that there's 2 types of American bulldog. There's a Scott, and I can't remember what the other one is. I think he's the Scott breed. I can't remember. Hey, Sean, good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a minute. I told Mandy I was tempted to take the vet bill, which the vet bill could have been a lot worse. The doctor didn't do x-rays. He said he didn't see no reason to do x-rays unless he's still limping in a couple weeks. Then he'll do an x-ray to see if there's any fragments or anything. But I told Mandy we ought to take the vet bill down to the sheriff's department. So you guys gave him permission. So you guys pay it or make him pay it. But I don't know how far that'd go either. So my son wants a German Shepherd puppy. I don't know how to find one. If you find one, you're probably going to pay out the nose for it because German Shepherd, a true German Shepherd, they're expensive. Good dogs, very good dogs, very expensive. Hey, Cat Skill, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And like I said, I'm like 98% sure he's the guy. He's the one that shot him. Just because I found all this out about him already having problems and killing his chickens and everything from his next door neighbor. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was him. And I don't want to go knock on his door because if he has the attitude of like, yeah, I shot your dog, you need to tell me, I'm not going to handle that well. at all. There'd probably be another gunshot wound. And it would probably be me. I'm not going to pull on somebody unless it's just absolutely necessary. So enough about me rambling on. How's everybody doing? Any praise reports? Or it's finally snapped cold here. Not unseasonably cold, but the nights are getting very cold. Any plants I had outside, they're gone. We had a really good freeze 2 nights ago. I mean, literally ice out in the mud puddles. So it's definitely a coming. Hey, Jennifer, good to see you. Honestly, Joe, I do really think he's a bad shot. I really think he was aiming for Tank's chest. The more I think about it, because if he'd have been facing Tank head on, and just by the grace of God, when he pulled the trigger, Tank just flinched, to the right, and it just almost just grazed him. I mean, he barely got him, but it was in far enough and went right through that muscle, like what would be our calf muscle, is what he got. So I think we're just real lucky that either he was a bad shot or Tank just happened to dart as he pulled the trigger. One or the other. You okay? I don't even know how to say that. Yours on Oz. Son. Anyway, thank you for being here, and I'm glad you followed that link. I appreciate it. Yep, ours is everything's gone too, Sean. Everything, which is weird, man. You haven't been in here, but I was asking. I think last week here, like the last 3 weeks, man, my pepper plants went nuts. I mean, they were out there all summer, barely did anything. I mean, they did all right, but then it's like from the first week of October through almost the whole month of October, just insane amounts of peppers. And I was wondering if it was something I did or, if I don't know, it was just weird. Or is that just what peppers do sometimes? It got down. It's been in the 20s here too, man. It got down, I think it was 27 yesterday morning. Moving in 23 days. That's awesome. I hope you found you a good place, a nice place. Why are you so nosy? Oh, I got it. That's cool. Right on. Okay. From Metal Screen. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. He's doing good. They sent him home with a big goofy cone to wear and everything, and we really haven't been making him wear it because if you put it on him, he'll lay in the floor. Like it was date night Friday night, so we put his cone on him. He lay down on the floor. We was gone for about 2.5 hours. Came back, he hadn't moved at all. It's like when he gets that cone on, it's like he thinks he's locked down or something. I don't know, but so we've really not been making him wear it. But they shaved him and all that stuff, and it was an interesting trip. That's what I do, Mojo. I gotta be nosy. You and everyone, hope you're all good. Did you hear that the CCP brought the Haitians with bio diseases? Be careful, everyone. I have not. I've kind of been steering clear of the news, to be honest with you guys. And good to see you, Chuck. Thank you for being here. But man, I've honestly been steering clear of a lot of news, and it's helping me because I've had a rough 2 or 3 weeks. Up here, like I think I told you guys last week, But been getting stuff done, and the girls, we got the side hustle going with the t-shirts and making Christmas stuff, and just staying busy, working 12 hours a day, and actually it feels healthier, man. I mean, I know I do need to pay some attention to the news, but yeah, I have the slow mode on for 30 seconds just because sometimes in here everybody talks and it flies by, and sometimes it's real chill and calm like tonight, and so I never know. Hey, Big Red, good to see you. Thank you for being here. The local newspaper no longer has pets for sale. I don't like the new digital world. Hard to buy a dog or other pet. I don't like scanning QR codes. I feel you. Absolutely. It's hard to do anything anymore without having to use a computer to do it. I mean, even shopping, you go to the store. A lot of restaurants want you to scan QR codes to see their menus. Like, nope, we'll just go somewhere else, or I'll order something that I know I've already had there. Only news we heard is grains are getting short, such as pasta. We are getting stuff done too. Absolutely. Only good thing was Brandon cut the world's longest record fart in front of a countess. That kind of news I like. Tonight we're continuing the book of Job, Jennifer, and I believe we're on chapter 26. 300 Warriors, good to see you. I'm doing very well, thank you. Hope you're doing the same. Phoenix, good to see you. That I do believe. The world, the economy collapse. That I have been reading on. Um, I need to start saving, like bookmarking everything I read, because I can never remember where I was at. But I've read several different sources. Um, some of them you can tell were like, they were way out there, but some of them, kind of on the same page we are. And like some of the earliest predictions, a lot of them agreed on was like March and April. We'll start seeing a lot of the digital currency being ushered in, and our dollars not being worth squat. And that just puts you in such a predicament. It's like, do you spend, because a lot of people say that, it's going to be non-transferable. Like, you're going to start out with what you got is what you got, and what you have saved up is kind of worthless. So I don't know. That puts you in such a predicament, like, so do you go blow all the what you've saved up in your savings and, on prep stuff and, a bunch of freeze dried food, or you just hope that that's all, and pray that that's all false and it'll be transferable to digital if you even want to live that way. I really don't. So it's just dang if you do, dang if you don't. If I'm correct and the economy crashes, our money will not be any good for purchasing. So maybe we should just go out if we have any extra cash and just purchase big items. See, that's kind of where I'm at. If and these, a lot of folks have agreed, it's going to be like basically like for a lot of folks, it's going to be like a clean slate. There'll be no more credit card debt. There'll be no more this and that, but I don't understand. That's the part that I don't understand. Like if you live in a home and it's paid for, but yet they say, like the famous quote is, you'll own nothing and be happy. Well, where does that put you? Do if your house is paid off, do you keep it? Or are they? I just don't. And you can't get a straight answer. I mean, even with the World Economic Forum and all that, you try to read that, it's just like a riddle box. Just a big forum of riddles almost. I don't think I don't think I believe our money will be worthless. I believe that we will have to have it in an account and use a card to make purchases. And that could be it too. That's why all these transactions over $600 but there's so much more. I mean, they're making it to where they can see every purchase you make. Everything. Like I go down to the Dollar General and get a pack of toilet paper. Sniffy's gonna know, if he wanted to. So I don't understand. My 19-year-old daughter was praying Wednesday. The Lord told her he's not happy with Americans. God will ask folks when they die, how did you treat people like Jesus would treat them? That is a big question. And I have no doubt he's not happy with Americans. And see, and that puts people, in the state of mind as well to me, like, okay, do we, which I mean, I know we do, you know, I'm I'm not going to bow down and be somebody's servant and dependent on the government. I'm not going to do it. So me standing up and making a stand for my family, does that put me as one of the ones he's unhappy with? Because I mean, I get it. You are supposed to respect your leaders, and everything. But no, there's a line. There's got to be a line. I mean, there's got to be. Help me out on this, Five. What do you think? People will not want money. In turn, they will want services for trade, like over the top handyman type stuff. See, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I think people, I mean, to me, ideally, people are going to eventually start forming like their own colonies. Like, okay, this guy, he can't work no more because he won't take the jab, but, he's been a medical doctor for 35 years, you know. And then I also know this guy needs some work done on his home, and I happen to be decent, at carpentry. So, taking things out like that, that's kind of going back 150 years, but, you know, well, I mean, we're going to do what we got to do, right? Oh, no, no, I'm not saying, I'm, no, I do not respect our current leaders. I don't, you know, and I have no shame in saying that. It's shameful that they've made us that way, but, that's what I was saying. There's a line. There has to be a line. Absolutely. That's what I've been saying the last couple months, is having skills and learning to do a lot of things. That's going to get you, when your food does run out or you are without water or, whatever the case may be, the more skills you have, the more likely you're going to be able to um, acquire what you don't have, through your skill set. I'm not anti-vax. I'm anti-cramming that stuff down everyone's throat. Exactly. I'm not anti-vax. I'm anti this vax because it's never been to this extent. It's never been this way before. I shouldn't say never, but in modern times, like, and now they're even starting to do the same thing with the flu shot in a lot of places. The flu shot is now mandatory, and it's never been before. And I've seen a lady, an interview. This lady had been a nurse for 16 years, and she has distributed the flu shot for 16 years. And she said every year the flu shot is just a clear saline like solution. She said this year it's cloudy. It's like real murky and milky looking. And, she, I guess, done her own, thing, making sure that the batch was good and, that it wasn't whatever. And that was the flu shot for this year. And she's recommending, to like ask to see before you even get the flu shot what it looks like, because she said prior years it's always been clear, and now this year it's really murky and kind of just weird looking. It's because people are letting it happen, and the funny part is you see how a few people just saying no changes. No, saying no changes the whole thing. Absolutely. um I heard, now I don't know, I didn't look into this, but like the postal workers, um, because they're not mandated, never have been, and the reasoning to that is because whoever he is, I forget his name, but he's like the top postal whatever. He's like, well, I cannot do that to the United States Postal Service because that's stupid. You know, you want to see calamity, you take away people's mails or their mail and their packages, and that's, you're going to have a riot. You're going to have riots on your hands because there'll be no postal workers. And they backed up off of them and they let it go. And I believe that's probably right. If you have millions of postal workers just quitting their jobs and telling you to stick it, you're going to have a big problem on your hands. Hey, Northern Girl, good to see you. And that's a good point too, Nosy. No vax, no food. Good thing I know how to fish. I think a lot of people, I mean, hunting is a good thing, a very good thing. But I think, once this happens, we're going to run out of game a lot faster than we will fish. Depending on how far out in the water you can get, I suppose, would be a big factor. But fish multiply so fast, and deer, you know, one, possibly twins, sometimes triplets, every year, one time, and stuff like that. I think being able to know how to fish, what to look for, things like that, I think fish will be around in a lot more abundance than deer, coons, stuff like that, you know, just my opinion. But I think we'll run out of actual um, big game a lot faster than we will fishing. So fishing is absolutely a good skill to have. Let me catch up real quick, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get into this. Buy big containers of Crisco, get 144 Jewish candles. Makes a large candle 72 hours. Absolutely. Game is going to get low here. Deer hunting is up. I'm wearing bright colors when I walk. I hear hunters every morning. Yep, I still haven't got to go yet. I was going to go yesterday evening, and I lost track of time here working at the house, um, and so this week will be out of the question. But next week here, I think the high is like 40 degrees. That's perfect hunting weather for me. So next weekend, I will definitely be in the woods, and I'm going to try my best to video. Um, I was hoping to have a mount for my crossbow for my phone. They do make them, so I can record, everything like POV, but I just can't afford one of those. So I'm going to try to put my phone on a tripod over away from me and just record the whole time I'm sitting there, I guess, and then just edit it later. But that's what I'm hoping for anyway. So there might not be much in the way of audio, but if I get a deer, I do want it to be able to share it with you guys. And like I said before, don't expect a big trophy buck, nothing like that. I don't hunt for trophies. I hunt for food, for meat. So if it's just a big, nice, fat-looking doe, she's going home with me. I don't care about antlers whatsoever. Hey, Blue Vandal, good to see you, man. I understand and I respect that, cat lady. I will put a disclaimer in the title. I absolutely will. And don't think I'm some big heartless hunter, because I'm not. I even squirrel hunting, whatever I get, I do. I pray over it. I thank God for it. And then I dress it and take it home. I don't take anything without thanking the Lord for providing it to me, because if He didn't want me to have it, I wouldn't get it. Hold on, let me write that down. I won't remember that name. Mark Merchant. I will check him out. I think, yeah, you're absolutely right, Nosy. You know, and absolutely no offense to Cat Lady. I mean, and she'll know that. But yeah, when time comes and you're starving to death, and I mean your outlook and what you'll be able to witness will definitely, it'll change. You know, the things that people will result to doing or resort to doing when they're starving to death, or they're watching their children starve to death. The things that cross your mind, the things that you will make reality. It's going to be, you would never dream in a million years the things you'll find yourself doing. Now, Five, I'm going to ask you a question, because I have no idea. Do people eat armadillos? I mean, I've heard them say that's like our possums. Is your guys' armadillos? They're like everywhere and a nuisance, but I don't know if they're edible or. I mean, possums edible. They're nasty, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they taste, but just the way they live is nasty. But I mean, if we were starving, you know, it is what it is. But like one of the best videos I've ever seen talking about it is OFC Nation. And he's talking about, people resorting to, like literal cannibalism. And people, of course, right now will say, no, there's no way. There's, like he said, if you're looking at your little baby, 4 or 5 years old, hasn't lived a life at all, and, daddy, I'm hungry, daddy, and they're slowly passing away due to starvation, you're going to do what you got to do. Mr. B says possum ain't right if it's cooked right. He ate it as a kid. Very good. Hey, Adriana, good to see you. Glad you could make it. My dad grew up in the South in Depression. They survived on possums and squirrels. Now, I love squirrels and rabbit. I love some squirrel gravy. Barbecued squirrel, barbecued rabbit. I mean, they're everywhere here, but it's still like a delicacy. Possums are super cute. They are cute. I'll give you that. They're cute, but man, they're nasty. I mean, they are just nasty. I've never had squirrel pot pie. The Bible speaks about parents eating their children. That's been going on for centuries, unfortunately. Now, that I couldn't do. And I would do a lot of things before I would starve to death, and that's one I would not do. There's no way. Absolutely. We are not destined for God's wrath. Trust Jesus. Thank you for throwing his channel up, Northern Girl. I appreciate it. And thank you very much, Nosy. I appreciate that. All right. Get everything arranged here. Okay. Let's see. I got okay. Well, thank you for being here, Nosy. I appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime. Be safe out there, and God bless you. Yeah, there are plenty of carp everywhere. Yeah. After the surge in the fan, or after the sugar in the fan, I give the wildlife 3 months to perish. That's, yeah, it's gonna, I mean, it will be depleted so quickly. Yeah, you definitely want to get the mud vein out. Definitely. Alrighty, y'all. We are in the book of Job, chapter 26. Shoot, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna ditch the hat. It's kind of warm. All right. Book of Job, chapter 26. Then Job spoke again. How you have helped the powerless. Hold on just a second. I need to change glasses. That's better. How you have helped the powerless. How you have saved the weak. How you have enlightened my stupidity. What wise advice you have offered. Where have you gotten all these wise sayings? Whose spirit speaks through you? The dead tremble, those who live beneath the waters. The underworld is naked in God's presence. The place of destruction is uncovered. God stretches the northern sky over empty space and hangs the earth on nothing. He wraps the rain in his thick clouds, and the clouds don't burst with the weight. He covers the face of the moon, shrouding it with his clouds. He created the horizon when he separated the waters. He set the boundary between day and night. The foundation of heaven The foundations of heaven tremble, they shudder at his rebuke. By his power the sea grew calm, by his skill he crushed the great sea monster. His spirit made the heavens beautiful, and his power pierced the gliding serpent. There are just the, these are just the beginning of all that he does, merely a whisper of his power. Who then can comprehend the thunder of his power? We'll jump down to the notes. Job has the distinction of giving the longest speech in the book, 6 chapters, weaving together pictures of God's mystery and power in a beautiful poem of trust, beginning by brushing off Bildad's latest reply as irrelevant. Job then told Bildad and his friends that they could not possibly know everything about God. Wisdom does not originate from this life or from the human mind, it comes from God. Job then defended his upright and honest life. He had effectively sought to follow God's way of living. While admitting that he was not perfect, Job maintained that his motives were right. With great sarcasm, Job attacked Bildad's comments. The theological explanation of Job's friends failed to bring any relief because his friends were unable to turn their knowledge into helpful counsel. When relating to people, it is more important to love and understand them than to analyze. Passion produces than criticism or blame. That is absolutely right. I mean, in my opinion, if I'm having problems and I'm distraught and broke down and at the end of my rope, criticism is the last thing that I want. I basically would want a shoulder to cry on and somebody tell me it's going to be all right. God's got this. And that's not what they're doing. Chapter 27. Job continued speaking. I vow by the living God, who has taken away my rights, by the Almighty, who has embittered my soul, as long as I live while I have breath from God, my lips will speak no evil, and my tongue will speak no lies. I will never concede that you are right. I will defend my integrity until I die. I will maintain my innocence without wavering. My conscience is clear for as long as I live. May my enemy be punished like the wicked, my adversary like those who do evil. For what hope do the godless have when God cuts them off and takes away their life? Will God listen to their cry when trouble comes upon them? Can he take delight? Can they take delight in the Almighty? Can they call God at any time? I will teach you about God's powers. I will not conceal anything concerning the Almighty. But you have seen all this, yet you say all these useless things to me. This is what the wicked will receive from God. This is their inheritance from the Almighty. They may have many children, but the children will die in war or starve to death. Those who survive will die of a plague, and not even their widows will mourn them. Evil people may have piles of money, may store away mounds of clothing, but the righteous will wear that clothing, and innocent will divide that money. The wicked build as flimsy as a shelter made of branches. The wicked go to bed rich, but wake to find that all their wealth is gone. Terror overwhelms them like a flood, and they are blown away in the storms of the night. The east wind carries them away, and they are gone. It sweeps them away. It whirls down on them without mercy. They struggle to flee from its power, but everyone jeers at them and mocks them. And that's chapter 27. In the midst of all the accusations, Job was able to declare that his conscience was clear. Only God's forgiveness and his determination to live rightly before God can bring a clear conscience. How important Job's record became as he was being accused. Like Job, we can't claim sinless lives, but we can claim forgiven lives. When we confess our sins to God, he forgives us. Then we can live with clear conscience. Job agreed to his friends that by the end of I'm sorry. Job agreed with his friends that the end of the wicked will be disaster, but he did not agree that he was wicked and deserved punishment. Most of the punishment Job listed never happened to him, so he wasn't including himself as one of the wicked. On the contrary, he was continually pleading for God to vindicate him. Okay, stop there for just a second. And that's what that's everyday life. People only see not that they really see the bad in Job, they assume the bad in Job. They just assume that he's become this horrible, terrible person that God is punishing, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. And I think I know there's a lot of people in this world that is very quick to do that exact thing. And I think we all do it. From time to time, we all, like, well, they had that coming. Well, we don't know that. You don't know what that person's gone through or what they've had done to them. They could just, God above knows. There's been times that, in my life that just one thing after another, just boom, boom, boom. And you're literally looking up like, why? What did I do? And, then people will be judgmental about you. It's just the way it is. And now, see, I don't disagree with that. The Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is part of the mark of the beast system. Never use this. I really can't argue with that. Hey, Rob, good to see you, man. I'm glad you could make it. Alrighty, I'm all caught up here. Grab me a drink and chapter 28. Job speaks of wisdom and understanding. People know where to mine silver and how to refine gold. They know where to dig iron from the earth and how to smelt copper from rock. They know how to shine light into the darkness and explore the farthest regions of the earth as they search in the dark for ore. They sink a mine shaft into the earth, far from where anyone lives. They descend on ropes, swinging back and forth. Food is grown on the earth above, but down below the earth is melted as by fire. Here the rocks contain precious lapis lazuli. I'd probably butchered that, but and the dust contains gold. These are treasures no bird of prey can see, no falcon's eye observe. No wild animal has walked upon these treasures, no lion has ever set his paw there. People know how to tear apart flinty rocks and overturn the roots of mountains. They cut tunnels in the rocks and uncover precious stones. They dam up the trickling streams and bring to light the hidden treasures. But do people know where to find wisdom? Where can they find understanding? No one knows where to find it, for it is not found among the living. It is not here, says the ocean, nor is it here, says the sea. It cannot be bought with gold. It cannot be purchased with silver. It's worth more than all the gold of Ophir, or Ophir. I think Ophir. Greater than precious onyx or lapis lazuli. Wisdom is more valuable than gold and crystal. It cannot be purchased with jewels mounted in fine gold. Coral and jasper are worthless in trying to get it. The price of wisdom is far above rubies. Precious peridot from Ethiopia cannot be exchanged for it. It's worth more than the purest gold. But do people know where to find wisdom? Where can they find understanding? It is hidden from the eyes of all humanity. Even the sharp-eyed birds in the sky cannot discover it. Destruction and death say, we've heard only rumors of where wisdom can be found. God alone understands the way of wisdom. He knows where it can be found, for he looks throughout the whole earth and sees everything under the heavens. He decided how hard the wind should blow and how much rain would fall. He made the laws for the rain and laid out a path for the lightning. Then he saw wisdom and evaluated it. He set it in place and examined it thoroughly. And this is what he says to all humanity: to fear the Lord is true wisdom. To forsake evil is real understanding. And that's chapter 28. The notes say, Job stated that wisdom cannot be found among the living. It is natural for people who do not understand the importance of God's word to seek wisdom here on earth or within themselves. They look to philosophers, to other leaders, or to their inner selves to give them direction for living. Yet Job said that wisdom is not found in those places. No person or group of people can produce enough knowledge or insight to explain the totality of human experience. The ultimate interpretation of life, of who we are and where we are going, must come from the outside and above this mortal life. When looking for guidance, seek God's wisdom as revealed in the Bible. To be lifted above and beyond the boundaries of life, we must know and trust the Lord of life because he alone sees the greater purpose for this world. The fear of the Lord is a key theme in the wisdom literature of the Bible. It means having respect and reverence for God and being in awe of his majesty and power. This is the starting point to finding real wisdom. And that's it for chapter 28. Lapuz Lazuli. La Paz Lazuli. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate it. I'm just going to go ahead and go right into chapter 29. Job speaks of his former blessings. Job continued speaking. I long for the years gone by when God took care of me, when He lit the way before me, and I walked safely through the darkness. When I was in my prime, God's friendship was felt in my home. The Almighty was still with me, and my children were around me. My steps were awash in cream, and rocks gushed olive oil for me. Those were the days when I went to the city gate and took my place among the honored leaders. The young stepped aside when they saw me, and even the aged rose in respect at my coming. The princes stood in silence and put their hands over their mouths. The highest officials of the city stood quietly, holding their tongues in respect. All who heard me praised me. All who saw me spoke well of me, for I assisted the poor in their need and the orphans who required help. I helped those without hope, and they blessed me. And I caused the widows' hearts to sing for joy. Everything I did was honest. Righteousness covered me like a robe, and I wore justice like a turban. I served as eyes for the blind and feet for the lame. I was a father to the poor and assisted strangers who needed help. I broke the jaws of godless oppressors and plucked their victims from their teeth. I thought, surely I will die surrounded by my family after a long good life. For I am like a tree whose roots reach the water, whose branches were refreshed with the dew. New honors are constantly bestowed on me, and my strength is continually renewed. Everyone listened to my advice. They were silent as they waited for me to speak. And after I spoke, they had nothing to add, for my counsel satisfied them. They longed for me to speak as a people long for rain. They drank my words like a refreshing spring rain. When they were discouraged, I smiled at them. My look of approval was precious to them. Like a chief, I told them what to do. I lived like a king among his troops and comforted those who mourned. And that's chapter 29. And olive oil were symbols of material prosperity in an agricultural society. Job's flocks and olive trees were so plentiful that everything seemed to overflow. Job was walking a fine line between bragging about past accomplishments and recalling good deeds in order to answer the charges against him. Job's one weakness throughout this conversation is that he came dangerously close to pride. Pride is especially deceptive when we are doing what is right. We think we're better than we really are. Then we trust our own opinions, which leads to other kinds of sin. While it is not wrong to recount past deeds, it is far better to recount God's blessings to us. Reviewing past blessings of family, productivity, and meaningful service can help us get through times of suffering and remind us of God's goodness. Even when the present is devastating, focusing on what God has done for us rather than on what we have done will help keep us from inadvertently falling into pride. And we all know those kind of people. Well, I've done this and this and this and this, and I've given to this charity and this charity. I mean, we all know people like that. And we're going to cruise right on into chapter 30. Job speaks of his anguish. But now I am mocked by people younger than I, by young men whose fathers are not worthy to run with my sheepdogs. A lot of good they are to me, those worn out wretches. They are gaunt from poverty and hunger. They claw the dry ground in desolate wastelands. They pluck wild greens from among the bushes and eat from the roots of broom trees. They are driven from human society, and people shout at them as if they are thieves. So now they live in frightening ravens, in caves and among the rocks. They sound like animals howling among the bushes, huddled together beneath the nettles. They are nameless fools, outcasts from society, and now they mock me with vulgar song. They taunt me. They despise me and won't come near me, except to spit on me. except to spit in my face. For God has cut my bowstring, he has humbled me, so they have thrown off all restraint. These outcasts oppose me to my face. They send me sprawling, they lay traps in my path, they block my road, and do everything they can to destroy me. They know I have no one to help me. They come at me from all directions. They jump on me when I am down. I live in terror now. My honor has blown away in the wind, and my prosperity has vanished like a cloud. And now my life seeps away. Depression haunts my days. At night, my bones are filled with pain, which gnaws at me relentlessly. With a strong hand, God grabs my shirt. He grips me by the collar of my coat, and he has thrown me into the mud, and I'm nothing more than dust and ashes. I cry to you, O God, but you don't answer. I stand before you, but you don't even look. You have become cruel toward me. You use your power to persecute me. You throw me into the whirlwind and destroy me in the storm. And I know you are sending me to my death, the destination of all who live. Surely no one would turn against the needy when they cry for help in their trouble. Did I not weep for those in trouble? Was I not deeply grieved for the needy? So I looked for good, but evil came instead. I waited for the light, but darkness fell. My heart is troubled and restless. Days of suffering torment me. I walk in gloom without sunlight. I stand in the public square and cry for help. Instead, I am considered a brother to jackals and a companion to owls. My skin has turned dark, and my bones burn with fever. My heart plays sad music, and my flute accompanies those who weep. And that is chapter 30. To suffer extreme loss, as Job did, was humiliating, but to face abuse at the hands of young upstarts added insult to injury. Job had lost his family, possessions, health. Excuse me. Job had lost his family, possessions, health, position, and good name. He was not even respected for suffering bravely. Unfortunately, young people sometimes mock or disregard older people and those who are limited in some way. Instead, they should realize that their own physical abilities and attributes are short lived and that love, God loves all people equally. Job complained that God was not answering his prayer. Sometimes God remains silent, even though we pray urgently. How should we respond? We should continue to pray, believing that God does indeed hear our prayers. David provides a wonderful example for us to follow. He said, "Have mercy on me and hear my prayer. The Lord has heard my plea. The Lord will answer my prayers. Answer my prayers, O Lord, for your unfailing love is wonderful. Take care of me, for your mercy is so plentiful." Through Isaiah, God said, "I will answer them before they even call to me. While they are still talking about their needs, I will go ahead and answer their prayers." We should continue to pray as Job did, believing that God hears us, knowing that he cares, and watching for his answers. And that is 31. I'm going to grab a drink, and then I think I will do chapter 31, and that's probably where I will stop tonight. Chapter 31, Job's final protest of innocence. I made a covenant with my eyes not to look with lust at a young woman. For what has God above chosen for us? What is our inheritance from the Almighty on high? Isn't it calamity for the wicked and misfortune for those who do evil? Doesn't he see everything I do and every step I take? Have I lied to anyone or deceived anyone? Let God weigh me on the scale of justice, for he knows my integrity. If I have strayed from his pathway, or if my heart has lusted for what my eyes have seen, or if I am guilty of any other sin, then let someone else eat the crops I have planted. Let all that I have planted be uprooted. If my heart has been seduced by a woman, or if I have lusted for my neighbor's wife, then let my wife serve another man. Let other men sleep with her. For lust is a shameful sin, a crime that should be punished. It is a fire that burns all the way to hell. It would wipe out everything I own. If I have been unfair to my male or female servants when they brought their complaints to me, how could I face God? What could I say when he questioned me? For God created both me and my servants. He created us both in the womb. Have I refused to help the poor or crushed the hopes of widows? Have I been stingy with my food and refused to share it with orphans? No, from childhood I have cared for orphans like a father, and all my life I have cared for widows. Whenever I saw the homeless without clothes and the needy with nothing to wear, did they not praise me for providing wool clothing to keep them warm? If I raised my hand against an orphan, knowing the judges would take me would take my side, then let my shoulder be wrenched out of place, let my arm be torn from its socket. That would be better than facing God's judgment. For if the majesty of God opposes me, what hope is there? Have I put my trust in money or felt secure because of my gold? Have I gloated about my wealth and all that I own? Have I looked at the sun shining in the skies or the moon walking down its silver pathway and been secretly enticed in the heart to throw kisses at them in worship? Excuse me. If so, I should be punished by the judges, for it would mean I have denied the God of heaven. Have I ever rejoiced when disaster struck my enemies or become excited when harm came their way? No, I have never sinned by cursing anyone or by asking for revenge. My servants have never said he let others go hungry. I have never turned away a stranger, but have opened my doors to everyone. Have I tried to hide my sins like other people do, concealing my guilt in my heart? Have I feared the crowd or the contempt of the masses so that I kept quiet and stayed indoors? If only someone would listen to me. Look, I will sign my name to my defense. Let the Almighty answer me. Let my accusers write out the charges against me. I would face the accusation proudly. I would wear it like a crown, for I would tell him exactly what I have done. I would come before him like a prince. If my land accuses me and all its furrows cry out together, or if I have stolen its crops or murdered its owners, then let thistle grow on the land instead of wheat, and weeds instead of barley. Job's words were ended. And that's chapter 31. Job had not only avoided committing the great sin of adultery, he had not even taken the first step toward that sin by looking. Job said he was innocent of both outward and inward sins. Job In Job 29, Job reviewed his good deeds. Here in 31, he listed sins he had not committed in his heart against his neighbors or against God. Job affirmed that depending on wealth for happiness is idolatry and denies the God of heaven. We excuse our society's obsession with money and possessions as a necessary evil or the way it works in the modern world, but every society and every age has valued the power and prestige that money brings. True believers must purge themselves of the deep seated desire for more power, prestige, and possessions. They must also not withhold their resources from neighbors near and far who have desperate physical needs. Job declared that he would Job declared that he did not try to hide his sin as people often do. The fear that our sins will be discovered leads us to a pattern of deception. We cover up sins with lies so that we will appear good to others, but we cannot hide from God. Do you try to keep people from seeing how you really behave and think? When you acknowledge your sins, you free yourself to receive forgiveness and new life. And that, my friends, is chapter 31. And that is where I'll stop tonight. I believe we're almost done with Job. Yep, it's 42 chapters. Very short chapters. I believe we will finish the book of Job next week. Or that is going to be my goal anyway. Get all this stuff back in place here. Thank you, Five. Appreciate it. Flow Grown. Grammy's house. Good to see you. Glad you made it. Let's see. I think lust is a completely different story than being attracted to someone. I agree. You're very welcome, B&B. Alley Cat, good to see you. Thank you, Northern Girl. I appreciate that. Okay, lust over my apple pie. Over my apple pie right now, but I won't. Never sell your soul for a Coca-Cola. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that, man. So we got one more night of Job. Where do you think we ought to go next? Any suggestions? Man, I wish I could turn that slow mode off after we start, but I don't think I can. Isaiah. Let me write them down, and whichever books gets the most recommendations is what we will go with. So there's an Isaiah. Revelations, Ezekiel, Esther. Getting some good ones. Daniel. Enoch. Oh, there's another one for me, or for Esther. There's two. Of course, I'm buffering. They don't like Jesus talk. So far we've got, oh, I missed Ephesians and Romans. There's another one for Ezekiel or Matthew. So far we got two for Ezekiel and two for Esther. We got Isaiah, Revelations, Daniel. I think we done Daniel, yeah, before we done Job. Enoch, Ephesians, Romans, and Matthew. Oh man, you're welcome, diabetic prepper. Yeah, it's good stuff. Very good stuff. Joseph, when he was in Egypt. Good night, Chuck. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. God bless you and yours, and be safe out there. Yeah, Enoch's actually kind of surprised me that 5 said that. Enoch's not in the Bible. He might have. I'd almost think he was. I really do think he was. I'm pretty sure. That is absolutely true. Joseph, the time he spent in Egypt. The only doubles we have is Ezekiel and Esther. So I'm going to go with probably Esther. Right. Hey, Donna. Good to see you. And I picked Esther just because alphabetically it's before Ezekiel. That was my deciding factor. It was the only two that had more than one mentioning. So back over here. I need a bigger desk. All right. Is there any prayer requests this week? I mean, obviously, this our nation as a whole, the world. There's Jennifer's link for you. Thank you guys for doing all that. I appreciate you guys throwing everybody's stuff up. In all honesty, I wouldn't mind, excuse me, really getting into the book of Revelation again. Because there's so much to know. It is just incredible. And it's almost like every time I read anything in the book of Revelations, almost every time I have a different aha moment. Okay, diabetic prepper. Father-in-law, he's still in the hospital. He needs to gain weight and strengthen to be released. Absolutely, man. Pray for him. Praise and request. I'm on day for a vacation. I have to go back tomorrow. Got you, Rob. Praise report. The ice has been broken with my son. I saw one of my granddaughters for the first time in 2 years. That is awesome. Very, very awesome. Jennifer Cruz, please pray for my state of New Jersey. We have Murphy again, and I heard of all the shady stuff. Absolutely, Jennifer. Prayers for my sister, surgery on ankle in the morning. Absolutely, B&B. Papa, did you see that Texas passed a proposition declaring churches essential businesses to hedge against another lockdown? That is awesome. That should be nationwide. Because I think it is essential for a lot of people. I mean, absolutely. And that's absolutely a praise report. Keep William H. on the prayer list from last week. Absolutely. Has there been any reports on him, Chris? Like, I know last week he said he was kind of almost missing in action. I hadn't heard anything else about it. Let's see. Oh, okay, Rob. Hey, man, sometimes going back to work is rough. I mean, I get it. I mean, if you want prayer for heading back to work, man, I totally get it. District Court LA put a hold on the mandate. We need to pray it holds. Absolutely. The state should declare every citizen the militia and deter federal overreach and the lockdown from happening. I don't disagree with that. Okay, Chris, thank you. Yeah, I was pretty proud of our boy Holcomb. At least he's trying. I hope. I know Thursday he filed the lawsuit. Or not just him, but he's our governor, Eric Holcomb. Let's see if I can remember which is which. The one Thursday was the federal contracted workers to get rid of that mandate. And then Friday, the 100+ employees have to be vaxxed, or the weekly tests and whatnot. They filed a lawsuit against that. And then Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, they are to file against the OSHA, the medical field mandates, because it's absolutely ridiculous. But my fear is that's the only one that'll stick. And if it does, I mean, I don't know. Poppaprepper beginning. Where did you send it to, Loretta? I'll have to get it. All right, Jennifer. Thank you very much for being here tonight. I appreciate it. God bless you and yours. Stay safe out there. Chris, just really quick. Mandy let Tank out to go potty when she got home. We've been babysitting quite regularly now. So she had the baby in her arms. So she let Tank out, went in the house, put the baby in its seat. Very often, but sometimes he does. He was gone a total of maybe 4 to 5 minutes. Came back home. Mandy didn't notice anything, because usually when he has ran off, he comes back, he knows he's in trouble. So he ran in the house, went straight to his kennel, And he gets locked in there for 5 minutes, like a toddler. I mean, not that you lock your toddler up, but, punish him, time out, whatever. And when she let him out, she noticed blood on his leg. He had been shot. One of our neighbors had a pit bull kill almost the whole flock of his chickens, called the law. The law came out, put the dog down, and told him the next time there's dogs messing with his animals, his chickens, he could do it himself, but make sure he reported it. And long story short, we're pretty sure that's the guy that done it, but he doesn't even have chickens anymore. So we're kind of like stuck in the middle, not knowing really what to do. Like, I haven't heard it come out of his mouth that he done it. And I really don't want to go down there and ask, because if he's cocky about it, I'll probably punch him in the mouth. And then that'll just land me in jail. But, well, there's no probably. I would punch him in the mouth. I mean, Tank is my son. But that's where we're at. But thank God he got him in the back leg, went through his muscle, what would be our calf muscle. That's where he got him. He's doing fine. Took him to the vet. They gave him pain relievers and antibiotics. So if he's still limping in 2 weeks, we got to take him back for x-rays. But he's doing all right. No, Bear, they didn't put my dog down. No. No. Hey, Widgets World, good to see you. That is very true, Mames. That absolutely did happen. That was an answered prayer to at least get us through the holidays. I actually talked about that with Rebecca, RSD, Friday. It's like, well, at least we got past the holidays. So, I mean, even if worst case scenario, it does hold, at least that prayer was answered. I got you down, Phoenix. Oh, absolutely, Rob, because it could have been a lot worse. Like I said, either the dude was just a bad shot, or by the grace of God, Tank just bolted to the right as soon as dude pulled the trigger, because I have no doubt he was facing him head on. It was probably going for the chest. You heading to bed? Huh? What's wrong? Into that back. Something's going on, guys. She's not wanting to tell me what it is, but they need me. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this. I'll get the word out what's going on, but I apologize. Thank you guys for being here. God bless y'all. I love you guys.